Okay, there we go. This is one of my props. I had to get it where I could get to it if I needed to. Okay, so during our poses today, if you find yourself needing to elevate your hands, your legs, put a block. If you don't have a block, that's perfectly fine. You can substitute out like with books or rolled up blankets or anything like that. The other thing, if you ever find yourself uncomfortable, you can roll up a towel or a blanket and use that to kind of support your head or your legs or whatever. I encourage the use of props because I'm more interested in you being comfortable in your practice while you're learning, and then at one point down the road, if you don't feel like you are comfortable using that prop anymore, we can always swap it out. But those are our two primary. We have a lot of other props we can use too, but for a beginning Vinyasa flow, which is what we're focusing on today, that's what we're going to start with. Is just rolled up towels or blankets or blocks. So if at any point you feel like you need to take a break and go grab something and bring it back so that you can try it with that, we can just hold off and do it then, or if you would rather go now and search up either a towel to roll up or something you can use for a block, that's completely up to you. Would you rather just proceed and then go get something if you need to? Okay, all right, so we'll do that then. Okay, so my name is Feline Mahoney, and thank you for joining to share your practice with me today. We are going to focus on a beginner flow that focuses on grounding and bringing energy to our root and sacral chakras. So we're going to start in the easy seated position. Take your hands, place the backs of your hands on your knees, touch your index finger and your thumb together on each hand. Sit up nice and tall, bring your spine long, but relax your shoulders down away from your ears. We're going to sit here for just a minute. We're going to take a few deep breaths in and exhale completely. Deep breath in. Exhale completely. Deep breath in. Exhale completely. So we're going to listen to our breath during our practice today. Keep it rhythmic and calm. Don't hold your breath. Just breathe in and release deeply. All right. So our first pose that we're going to go to is called the child's pose. So what you'll do is come to all fours on your mat. This is called a tabletop. We're going to sink our hips down towards our ankles. And then we're going to reach our hands as far out in front of us as we can. It might be more comfortable to take a wider stance with your knees when you come down, or some people prefer to have the knees in closer together. Whatever is more comfortable for your body. We're going to take your hands all the way down, out as far as we can, and gently rest your forehead on your mat. We're going to gently rock your head just a little bit to kind of bring some grounding to your third eye as well. We're going to continue the deep breathing. Full breath in, full breath out. going to slowly come back up. And we're going to do some cat-cows. So to do a cat pose, you're going to exhale and you're going to round your back like a cat. We're going to inhale and you're going to sink your back down like a cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, breathe in for cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, breathe in for cow. Exhale, cat. Inhale, cow. And we're going to come back to neutral. The next thing we're going to do is called thread the needle. So we're going to start by bringing your right arm up in the air while you keep your left arm on the ground. And we're going to bring that right hand in between your left knee and your left hand. So that your right hand, the top of your right hand is kind of touching the ground. And you're also laying your right shoulder on the ground. You're going to take your left hand and you kind of reach it out in front of you. This is called threading the needle. And it gives your shoulder and your arm a nice stretch. I'm going to take a couple of breaths here. And we're going to come back up to our neutral tabletop. Okay, we're going to do the same thing on the other side because it's all about balance. So we're going to take our left arm, we're going to put it up in the air, and we're going to thread it in between our right arm and our right knee. And we're going to put the top of that left hand on the ground, and we're just going to reach the right hand out as far as we can comfortably, and give ourselves a nice stretch on the other side. Take a few nice deep breaths here. Nice deep inhale, nice deep exhale. We're going to come back up to a neutral. And we're going to come back around to our easy seat. Now the next stretch we're going to do is called cow face. And what you'll do is you'll take your right hand, you're going to bring it up over your head, you're going to bend at the elbow so that that right hand is behind your back, behind your neck. We're going to take the left hand, we're going to reach it around, and just go as far as you can. If you can touch your hand, your right hand and your left hand together and do a little bit of a clasp, that's great. If not, then just go as far as is comfortable. You want to feel a stretching sensation, but you don't want to ever feel discomfort. And we're going to take a couple of breaths here. Nice deep breath in. Nice deep breath out. Nice deep breath in. Nice deep breath out. We're going to release our hands, stretch the arms out a little bit, shake them out some, and we're going to do it on the opposite side now. Take the left hand up, bend at the elbow, reach down to your shoulder blades, take that right hand under. Now on the other side I was able to touch. This side for me is a little bit tighter. Everybody's body is different though. So if this side is different for you than what the other side was, that is completely normal. You can always take a little hand towel or a wash rag and kind of grab each end of that and put it in there to help you feel that connection from one hand to the other if there's actually a space there. I'm just reaching as far as is comfortable. Okay, we're going to release the arms, loosen them up, loosen your shoulders back up a little bit. So that was cow face. The next pose we're going to do is called seated butterfly. So we're going to take the palms of our feet, put them together. You can put them as far in front of you as you need to be comfortable. You can pull them in for a little bit deeper stretch if that feels better. And then you want your sit bones firmly on the ground. And what we're going to do is just wiggle our knees up and down ever so gently. And that's why this is called the butterfly pose. The movement helps you sink a little bit deeper into your stretch. And it's just a really nice stretch for the hip flexors. Now we're going to go one step further. We're going to do a butterfly pose variation by bringing the arms up. And we're going to go over as far as is comfortable, but not to the point to where it's tense or uncomfortable. You want a little bit of stretching, but you don't want discomfort. This helps deepen the stretch. Okay, and you can come back up. Now the next variation of this is to actually reach your hands underneath your legs and just kind of put your hands on your feet a little bit. Just kind of grab your feet, but from underneath instead of on top. And this is a butterfly pose, forward bend variation with the arms under the legs. This allows you to just get ever so gently deeper into that butterfly pose stretch. Okay. And we're going to come back up. So the next thing we're going to do is called the staff pose. You're going to straighten your legs out completely in front of you. We're going to make sure we're square on our sits bones. And I want you to tighten your knees, pull your knees back towards your abdomen so that you're kind of engaging your quadriceps. And you're going to pull your toes just a little bit back towards your body. This is just engaging the muscles in your legs for just a second before we spread out to do the revolved head to knee pose. So you're going to take your right leg out towards the edge of your mat. You're going to pull your left leg in and touch your left foot to your right thigh. There you go. I'm going to sit up tall. Sit up nice and tall. Shoulders away from the ears. Relax the shoulders. And we're going to take the right hand and reach it down the right leg. And we're going to take the left hand and we're going to keep our face facing the front. We're not going down towards our knee. We're going over the side. And we're going to take a nice gentle stretch. This should be a nice stretch in your side body. You can look up if you like, or you can look straight ahead if you like. And we're just gently reaching towards that right foot. A couple of nice breaths, deep breaths here. We're going to come back. And we're going to take this to the other side. So we're going to bring the left leg out wide. And we're going to tuck the right leg in. Right foot on the left thigh. Sit up nice and tall like we did the other side. Slide your hand down that left leg. Touch the floor if it feels good. And we're going to bring that right hand over. And do a nice stretch on the right side now. A couple of nice deep breaths here. And then back to our staff pose. And we're going to do a nice forward fold into our staff pose. So you're reaching for the ankles. If it feels good, to try to put your nose down towards your knees, and you can do that without a lot of discomfort. That makes for a nice stretch. You want sensation but not discomfort. Okay, so from here we're going to do an upward plank pose. So you'll keep your legs and feet in the position you're in, but you're going to reach behind you as if you were going to kind of lean on this, but we're actually going to use it to hold ourselves up. So you want the palms of your hands and you want your fingers towards the front of the mat. And this is a reverse plank pose. So what we're going to do is we're going to lift the hips. You don't have to bring them outrageously high, just enough to get some lift and feel the energy in your core. And we're going to bring that down. We're going to do it once more. Lift. And then bring it down. Okay, now we're going to come to the front of our mat in a standing position, and we're going to do our first set of sun salutations. Now, I realize my head is chopped off, but I think you can see for the most part what you need to do, and when I reach my hands over my head, I'll tell you that's what I'm doing so that you've got a pretty good idea of what's going on, even though I know it's hard to see that part. Okay, so for our first sun salutation, we're going to stand with both of our feet firmly planted on the ground. We're going to take our arms, we're going to reach them up over our head. We are going to swan dive down in a forward fold and reach for the ground. Now in your forward fold, you want your knees slightly bent. You want your torso to gently rest a little bit on your knees and touch the ground for just a second or two. And then now we're going to go into what's called a half lift. So we're going to straighten our knees and we're going to straighten our lower back. And then we're going to go from here into a plank. So we're going to put hands back on the ground. We're going to gently step our feet back into plank. If it's more comfortable, you can do a supported plank and stay on your knees. We're going to lower ourselves down into chaturanga. And so for this, you're going to bend your elbows in towards your body and just gently lower yourself down. so that you're flat on the ground now, but your hands are still just outside your shoulders. Now we're going to push up into what's called a cobra. So we're just going to push up real gentle. This strengthens the muscles in our back into cobra. And then we're going to go back down. We're going to turn the toes under so that our toes are giving us traction on the mat. And we're going to push up into a downward dog. So your hands are flat on the ground, but you are putting some energy into your fingers just a little bit so that not all the weight is on your wrists. Your shoulder blades should be pulled in towards your spine. You want your shoulders away from your ears a little bit. What I'm doing here is I'm pedaling my legs just a little bit to make some space in the back of my legs. A lot of us call this walking the dog. We're going to take a few more breaths here. Now we're going to lift the left leg straight out, up high behind us. And we're going to bend it and bring it in towards our hands. So your left foot should be towards the front of the mat. There you go. Your left knee should be tracking over your left foot. Your back leg should be still back behind you where we left it. You had your foot correct before. So you want that back foot kind of a little bit at an angle. It doesn't necessarily need to be parallel to the back of the mat. You want it tracking at a little bit of an angle towards your top corner of the mat. And this is a warrior stance. We're going to go into warrior one first. So with your feet positioned like this, knee tracking over your ankle, you're going to lift your arms straight up over your head. Your palms are facing each other. They're not touching, they're straight up overhead, but they are facing each other. And this is warrior one. We're going to open up as part of our warrior flow into a warrior two. So with the warrior two, your left arm is going to be in front of you, tracking over your left knee and your left foot. Your right arm's going to be behind you. And you're going to gaze over your left hand. This is warrior two. We're going to move into a reverse warrior by bringing your back hand down to your back leg. So your right hand down, kind of track it down your back leg. You take your left hand, you're going to flip it over, flip your palm to the sky, and you're going to bring it over. So this is called a reverse warrior. The next part of the flow is to bring your left elbow down to your left knee. And you're going to take your right hand and you're going to reach it out to where it's a straight line from that back leg through your fingertips. This is called extended side angle. And then we're going to come back out of that. We're going to straighten this left leg. And now we're going to go down into what's called a triangle. We're going to take the left hand, we're going to bend at the hip, and we're going to just, you can reach down to your ankle, you can grab your ankle, you can touch the mat. This is a good place for a block if you're not comfortable going all the way down to the mat. And we're going to go straight up. So this is triangle pose. And this should bring you a nice stretch in that left, on the inside of that left leg. So we're going to come out of triangle pose. We're going to turn both of the feet towards the front of your mat. This is called an extended wide leg pose. And we are going to do a forward fold here. But with this forward fold, we're going to do it like a half lift, where you keep your knees and legs straight, firmly grounded, and you keep your back flat. If you're comfortable putting your hands on the ground, you can do that. If not, you can do a block. And we're going to put the right hand on the ground, or the block, and we're going to lift the left hand straight up. Take a few breaths here. We're going to go the other side. So we're going to put the left hand on the ground or on the block, whatever works better, and we'll lift the right hand. There you go. All right. And so we're going to come to the top of our mat on the other side. So if you were, whatever end you were at, now you want to be at the other end. So we're going to do our salutation. So feet firmly planted, arms up in the air. Swan dive down into your forward fold. And then gently bend your legs, rest your torso on the thighs, touch the ground, let your head dangle a little bit. Now we're going to do a half lift, straighten the back, flatten it out, straighten the knees. We keep hands on the ground. We're going to go into plank. Do a plank pose. You can either stay in plank or you can support the plank with your knees. Do a supported plank pose when you come down into chaturanga. So you're going to lower with your arms until you're firmly on the ground. Now we're going to go into our cobra pose. We're going to turn our toes under. And we're going to go up into our downward dog. Remember, you want to keep your hands firmly planted in the ground. Keep your shoulder blades together. Keep your shoulders away from your ears. You can walk your dog a little bit here to get some more space in your back of your legs. So this time we're going to lift our right leg up, straight out behind us, straighten it out, and then we're going to bend it and bring it in between the hands. We're going to rotate that back foot where it's at a 45-degree angle towards the back of the mat. Remember, we want our front leg, we want that knee tracking over that ankle, which is good. We're going to go up into warrior one. Hands up in the air, palms together, facing each other but not together. You're facing straight forward. We're going to open into warrior two. Right hand tracking over right knee and right ankle. Left hand behind us. You want to gaze over the right hand. Take a few nice breaths right here. Focus on your breath. We're going to drop our back hand down to go into reverse warrior. We're going to bring the front hand up over the top into reverse warrior. Now we're going to bring the right elbow down. We're going to bring that left arm up into an extended side angle pose. Now we're going to straighten that right leg. Make sure the left leg is planted firmly. Both legs are straight. We're going to go down into our triangle pose. You can either touch the ground if that's comfortable, or you can use a block to come into your triangle pose. And we're going to come out of the triangle pose. Bring our feet back to just an extended, wide-legged pose. We're going to fold our hands behind us. So I'm just taking my hands and I'm just clasping them behind me. And this time when I come over, I'm going to bring my arms up as far as I can, as far as is comfortable. You want sensation, but not discomfort. So this should be a nice stretch for the arms and the back of the legs. Okay. All right. And as we come out of this, we're going to do a standing back bend pose. So we can start off by planting our feet firmly on the ground, and we're just going to stand firmly and just reach back as far as is comfortable. This is a nice heart opener. We're going to come back to neutral. We're going to take our hands and we're going to just put them gently behind our head. So your elbows are bent. I know it's hard to see, but your elbows are bent. So your hands are just kind of gently behind your head. And we're going to lean ever so gently to the right. We're just going to bend at the waist. So everything else stays planted on the ground, feet about hip width apart. And we're just bending a little bit at the waist and leaning over ever so gently. Taking a deep breath in, and on the exhale, we're leaning the other way. Ever so gently. One more time to the right. Breathe in. To the left. And then back to a neutral position. So from here, we're going to go into a chair pose. So a chair pose, you start with your feet about hip width apart. You bend your legs as if you're going to sit in a chair. But you don't actually sit in the chair. You're just, that's the pose that you're taking. And then you go up with your hands straight into the air, palms facing each other but not touching. Now we're going to bring your palms together and pull them into your heart space. And we're going to turn towards the right with the palms still together. You'll have to tilt your left knee probably in a little deeper to make that twist. And then we'll come back to center. And then we're going to tilt, or twist, to the left. So you're pulling your right elbow towards your left knee. and then back together. I'm going to stand up, shake our hands and feet out just a little bit. We're going to come back into the chair. And this time, we're going to do a revolved chair pose variation with our arms extended. So we're going to put the left hand on the ground while we're in our chair pose and the right hand up in the air. And we're going to hold this for just a second, take a couple of breaths. We're going to put the right hand down, and we're going to bring the left hand up. We're going to come back to neutral. In our chair pose, and then we're going to stand up. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is called the camel pose. So if you have sensitive knees, you may want to put a blanket or a towel on your mat as you kneel down. With the chair pose, what we're going to do is you want to make sure you keep your shoulders down away from your ears. And we're going to lean back ever so gently. And when we do, we're going to try to touch the left hand to the left foot. We're just going to do it just very gently. If you don't make it all the way back to the left foot, that's fine. Just make it back as far as you can. Touch your left foot. And then we're going to do the same thing on the other side. We'll lean back real gentle. We're going to touch your right foot. We'll do this one more time. Lean back gentle. Touch your left foot. Lean back really gentle. Touch your right foot. And we did that to make some space. So now we're going to try to do it with both hands. You can reach over or you can just go straight back. I find if I reach over, give myself a little bit more space, I can come back and touch both feet. All right. So from there, we're going to come back down onto our mat into pigeon pose. So we're going to take the right leg and knee and we're going to pull it towards the front of the mat, just like in front of us. And we're going to take the left leg and we're going to put it behind us. So that we have a nice extension of the left leg back, and we have the right leg tucked in front of us. Okay, so if you like your pigeon right here, you can stay here and take a few breaths. If you would like to deepen the pose, you can come down on a block, lean on a block, put your forehead on a block. If you don't want the block, you can just go straight for the floor. You can stay up on your elbows, but just put your head down towards the floor. Or if you want a deeper stretch and it feels comfortable in your body, you can go all the way down and rest your head on the floor. And again, you want sensation, you want a nice stretch, but you don't ever want discomfort. So do what works for your body. We're going to take a couple of more breaths here. just focus on our breath and sink into that stretch. Okay. So to come out of your pigeon, you just sit back up on your arms, and we're going to push back up out of our pigeon into a downward dog. So again, with the downward dog, you just want your shoulder blades in towards your spine. Okay. Now that we've made some space with our dog, we're going to take our left leg, we're going to lift it up, and we're going to bring it over here. We're going to do our pigeon on the other side. So now you should have a nice stretch in your back leg on the right, and you should have your right leg tucked in front of you. Now some people get a good stretch when they take their leg like this and make it parallel to the front of the mat. Or you can tuck it in a little bit if that's too much sensation. And you have the same options on the other side. You can use your block if you need some extra support, some extra height. If it feels good in your body to get into your stretch a little bit deeper, you can melt down to the different levels. You can go all the way in to your pigeon on the other side. You want to take some nice breaths here. Okay, so we're going to come out of our pigeon. And we're going to go into a bridge pose. So with the bridge, we're going to lay down on the mat, knees bent, soles of the feet on the ground, shoulders and head firmly on the ground. If you find it's more comfortable and you want to stick you a little towel or a pillow or something under your neck, you can do that. Or you can just lay your head flat on the mat, whatever's more comfortable for your body. So you're going to bring your heels somewhat close to your glutes. You're going to make sure that you have your shoulders planted squarely on the ground. You need to push your hips up. This is called bridge pose. If this is uncomfortable or it creates too much strain, you can put a block under there to help support it while you get set up. Or you cannot use the block. You can lower down. You can bring your knees to your chest. Roll just a little bit. And set up again. Feet flat on the ground. Shoulders planted. Push your hips up. Back into bridge. Hold it for just a few breaths. Back down. Bring your knees in towards your chest. And then your legs back down. So the next thing we're going to do is called a rocking and rolling. So this one, you're on your mat, you have your feet in an easy pose, and you lean over, and when you lean back, you kind of bring your legs, you got to get some momentum doing this. It's called rocking and rolling because it's like you're a rocking chair. So you just bring that over just a little bit, and I rolled over my mic. Can you still hear me okay? Okay, good. All right. So we're going to do it again. So you kind of lean forward, and we're going to roll over. Just kind of bring our feet up over our head a little bit. We're going to roll back. One more time, roll over, feet over the head a little bit, and roll back. Now, if this is uncomfortable on your lower back, you can always put a little blanket or whatever under there to help make the rolling more comfortable. But for whatever reason, it just feels good to me to do it without it. All right. But you do whatever is comfortable for your body. Okay, so while we're down here, we're going to do a half plow pose. And we're going to square our shoulders, keep our head and neck straight, and we're going to go into shoulder stand. So if this is uncomfortable, you can just stay in the plow pose that we did. But if it feels good in your body, you can go up into the shoulder stand. So the goal is to get your feet as straight up in the air as you can. If they're tilted a little bit in, and that's better for your balance, that's fine. Do not bend your neck or your head. You want to be looking squarely at your body. If you want a deeper stretch, you can touch your toes one at a time to the floor to get some space. And if you like, you can even bring both toes to the floor and then come back up. And you can come out of your shoulder stand two ways. You can come down into a bridge like we were earlier, or you can just gently roll your back and come out of it that way. So the last pose that we do before we start our relaxation is called the fish pose. So in fish pose, you have your legs out in front of you. If you want to support your fish pose, you can put a block or a bolster or a towel, a pillow underneath your shoulder blades for extra support, or you can just leave it without the prop. But to come into fish pose, you'll lean back and you'll kind of put your elbows down to support you a little bit, but don't put them too far up underneath. You want them kind of out to the side of your body just to help support, so that you can let your head and your neck fall back, but you still want your shoulder blades in towards your spine. So you want your chest elevated, but your neck and head gently tilted back. And this is called fish pose. It's a nice heart opener to help counterbalance the forward bends that we just finished. Okay. We're going to come up out of fish pose. And now we're going to go into our final pose for the day. It's called Shavasana, or corpse pose. This is where we just take a few minutes to relax. We'll take about 5 minutes to relax and let our practice sink in. During your Shavasana, you want to remain calm, still, focus on your breath. If you find your mind wandering, it happens, just try to bring it back to your breath. So we will start Shavasana by just laying down, getting completely comfortable. If you want to cover your eyes with an eye pillow or a little soft wash rag, you can do that. Or if you just want to close your eyes, but you want your arms completely relaxed, kind of just laid out beside you, palms facing up. Some people are more comfortable with the arms placed on the torso, just gently resting. You want your legs loose. You want your feet loose. Release all the tension out of your neck. You want it loose. If your jaw is clenched, unclench your jaw. And just focus on your breathing. You want deep breaths in and deep breaths out. So to come out of our Shavasana, we're going to gently move our fingers and our toes. And then tilt our head to the left and to the right very gently. We're going to roll over onto our side. Whichever side is more comfortable for you. You can roll onto your left or your right. But don't sit up quite yet. Just roll on your side. Relax here for just a second. Take a few more breaths. Slow, deep breaths in. And make sure you let it all out. We're going to gently push ourselves back up into an easy seat. In today's practice, we've focused on grounding and stress relief. We've done some hip openers to relieve tension. We focused on our breath, on remaining calm, doing things with intention, not rushing our way through it. I thank you for sharing your practice with me today. We'll conclude by bringing our hands above our head, putting them together, bringing them down to our heart. We're going to tilt our head forward. Namaste. Be well. That concludes today's practice. I hope you enjoyed it. So let me get back over here where I can hear you a little better, and we can chat just for a minute.